Amazon just made $1 billion mistake, and instead of fixing it, they're blaming the fans, especially Critical Drinker. But is it really the backlash that's sinking Rings of Power, or something much deeper? From cast therapy sessions to media silence, we'll uncover how Amazon's attack on one YouTuber completely backfired and why the show may never make it to 5 seasons. Stick around to see how one guy might know more about Tolkien and business than the entire studio. Hey everyone, Movie Saga here. If you're new to the channel and enjoyed the latest updates, make sure to subscribe for more engaging content. So, it's no secret that Rings of Power is shaping up to be one of the biggest disasters in TV history. Even Moist Critical can barely stay awake through it. And he's not alone. This billion-dollar gamble by Amazon is turning into a nightmare, with fans already talking about a possible cancellation. And the second season isn't even done airing. Instead of taking responsibility for this colossal failure, Amazon seems to be pointing the finger at the so-called toxic fan base. And guess who's been painted as the ringleader of this negativity? Yep, none other than the Critical Drinker. As a major Tolkien fan and a vocal critic of Rings of Power, he's been targeted for supposedly being the reason the show won't make it to 5 seasons. Things have gotten so intense that the cast reportedly had to go through therapy to deal with the backlash. Yes, you heard that right, therapy. We're going to dive deep into how Amazon is blaming its own fans for the downfall of their perfect billion-dollar epic, and why they've singled out one guy for the mess they've created. The way they talk about the backlash, you'd think Rings of Power is being unfairly attacked by a mob of racists and trolls, but is that really the case? The backlash against Rings of Power has been labeled as racist and sexist, with many claiming it goes against the spirit of Lord of the Rings. Apparently, woke is now the new standard in fantasy because, as some argue, fantasy should be for everyone. In fact, the backlash has gotten so intense that the cast reportedly had to receive on-set therapy. Just think about that for a second. How awful must these fans be if the actors need therapy to cope with the criticism? Amazon and the media make it seem like the fan base is filled with hateful trolls who have no real arguments other than their dislike for diversity. But if you watch even a single minute of any Critical Drinker video, you'll quickly see that fans have valid reasons to criticize the show, and diversity is just one small part of it. In reality, the backlash stems from a variety of issues that go far beyond simple bigotry. It's hard to believe Amazon hasn't considered this, or maybe they're just so arrogant that they genuinely think Rings of Power deserves to be showered with praise. And for the amount of money they spent, maybe that's their expectation. After all, when you pour $1 billion into a project and plan for 5 seasons, you expect it to be a massive success. But here we are, with media outlets that once defended the show starting to realize the viewership numbers just aren't there. Some are even suggesting Amazon should rethink its 5-season plan. Fans have been saying since season 1 that Rings of Power should not drag on for 5 seasons. It was clear early on that the show wasn't well received, especially by the fans who should have been its biggest supporters. Instead, they've been the loudest voices calling for its cancellation. When even the core fan base dislikes it, who exactly is this show for? It's obvious to anyone paying attention that committing to 5 seasons of the most expensive show ever made is a bad idea when it's this universally hated. Instead of attacking fans and critics like the Critical Drinker, Amazon could have taken their feedback to improve the show. But they didn't. And while Critical Drinker's criticism may have had more viewers than the show itself, he wasn't the reason the Acolyte flopped. Disney at least had the sense to pull the plug after one disastrous season. But Amazon? They've doubled down on Rings of Power, despite it being more expensive and possibly even less popular than the Acolyte. It seems like they're holding on out of sheer spite, unwilling to admit that their critics were right all along. At this point, they've lost most of their audience, so why keep it going? By listening to Critical Drinker, Amazon might actually understand its audience better. Instead of attacking him, they should pay attention to his insights. If they did, it could save them time, effort, and a lot of money, while also delivering some genuinely good entertainment in the process. It's fascinating that one guy with no budget and just a few hours can create content that's more engaging than what Amazon has achieved after years of work and $1 billion investment. And somehow, this drunk guy seems to have more common sense than an entire studio filled with wealthy executives. The Drinker is spot on. From a business perspective, it makes no sense to keep pouring money into a show that's lost the majority of its audience, lacks hardcore fan support, and shows no signs of a turnaround. Amazon needs to wake up before it's too late. They need to drop their pride, stop blaming the fans, and just cancel the show. If they don't, and they continue to burn through cash on content nobody enjoys, it's going to hurt their brand in the long run. Ultimately, if Amazon continues down this path, they might find themselves in a similar situation to Disney with the MCU and Star Wars struggling to regain audience trust and stuck with a tarnished reputation. Critical Drinker's popularity isn't just by chance. He connects with viewers and reflects the sentiments of the majority. Instead of targeting him and creators like me, Amazon should really listen to the feedback from fans and implement the suggestions we offer. If they did, I believe they'd see a significant increase in support and success. Amazon's Rings of Power is facing serious backlash, with many considering it one of the biggest failures in television history. Despite investing a staggering $1 billion into the series, the response from fans has been overwhelmingly negative, leading to speculation about a potential cancellation even before the second season has finished airing. Rather than owning up to this colossal misstep, Amazon seems to be shifting the blame onto its own fan base, particularly targeting critical voices like YouTuber Critical Drinker. A prominent Tolkien enthusiast, Critical Drinker has openly criticized the show, making him a convenient scapegoat for Amazon's struggles. Reports indicate that the cast has even undergone therapy to cope with the intense backlash, raising questions about the show's environment and the validity of the criticisms leveled against it. The criticism directed at Rings of Power has been described as rooted in racism and sexism, but this oversimplification ignores the deeper issues at play. Many fans feel that the show strays from the core values of Tolkien's work, leading to disappointment among those who were initially excited for its release. This misalignment with fan expectations has resulted in calls for cancellation from the very audience that should have been its biggest supporters. Media coverage has begun to reflect this reality, with some outlets suggesting Amazon reconsider its ambitious 5-season plan. The fanbase's rejection is palpable, indicating that a show devoid of support from its core audience is unlikely to thrive. Instead of attacking critics, Amazon should have embraced constructive feedback to improve the series. While Critical Drinker's critiques have garnered significant viewership, his insights could serve as valuable lessons for the studio. In a world where a single content creator can engage more effectively with audiences than a massive studio, Amazon risks further alienation by failing to acknowledge and adapt to this feedback. As for Rings of Power, the answer is simple: just let it go. Cancel it before it becomes an even bigger burden. That's all for today. I hope you enjoyed the video. What do you think about Rings of Power or Critical Drinker? I'd love to hear your thoughts in the comments. If you like this video and want to help spread the word, please like, share, and subscribe to the channel. Your support means a lot. Wishing you a fantastic day, and I hope to see you again in the next one. Until then, take care.